I was saying, y'all, it's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and I have some really interesting news for y'all today. I know it's early, but I felt like I needed to go ahead and get this out to y'all. So apparently we have two major things to talk about in this video. The Washington Commanders are trying out most famously known Steelers wide receiver Martavis Bryant. We're going to dive into why he could potentially be a big pickup for us and why we have a need for a guy that specifically has his traits and measurables. Also, for the second half of the video, I'm going to give y'all all of the 2024 Washington Commanders schedule leaks that we have so far, but I do want to emphasize the fact that these leaks are not very trustworthy. Like, the sources are kind of all over the place. It's people saying that it's this and that, but we have not received any confirmation from anybody close to the NFL, in the NFL, or anything like that. So just keep all of these with a grain of salt. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these are actually true, and maybe these leaks are real, and maybe the NFL is just trying to cover it up by not reacting to it. Who knows? But we're going to dive into all of that and more. But before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned, because again, even though I'm keeping y'all updated on everything practice, even when things like this that go on outside of practice, I'm keeping y'all updated as well. And the official schedule release is at 8 p.m. tonight, so I will do a video breaking down like the exact schedule, the most notable games, what games I may try to go out to and try to prioritize, and also like talk about the bye week. I'm gonna do my very early record prediction as well with it as too, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. I'm gonna keep y'all updated on the draft picks, because I'm working on film sessions for those guys as well, and I have a lot of interesting ideas on top of all of that, so make sure you stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so apparently wide receiver Martavis Bryant has a workout scheduled with the Washington Commanders for Wednesday. Aaron Wilson of KPRC reports, and that is very interesting, man. This guy has had a pretty troubled past, really a roller coaster ride, because just to remind y'all, Bryant's 5-year ban from the NFL ended last November when the wide receiver was reinstated by the league. He subsequently caught on with the Cowboys practice squad, but never made his way to the big league roster, like the actual 53-man roster. He signed a reserve veterans futures contract with the organization in January, but he was released shortly after the Cowboys added 3 rookies to the same exact position. They brought in 3 rookie receivers. The wideout burst into the scene with the Steelers after being selected in the 4th round of the 2014 draft. He hauled in 14 touchdowns through his first 2 years in the NFL, plus another 2 playoff scores, before being sidelined for the entire 2016 campaign due to his 2nd career suspension. He topped 600 yards following his return in 2017, and the Steelers quickly sent him to the Raiders for a 3rd round pick. He got into 8 games with the Raiders before being hit with the most recent suspension in 2018, again, which lasted a full 5 years as a ban. Really, it wasn't even seen as a suspension at that point in time at the beginning of it. Between the initial suspension and his 2023 comeback attempt with the Cowboys, Bryant spent time in a handful of other leagues, including stints in the CFL and the XFL. And while the Commanders head coach and former Cowboys offensive coordinator Dan Quinn didn't necessarily deal with Martavis Bryant directly in Dallas, he definitely was able to get like an extended look at him at Cowboys practices and things like that. So I'm assuming that Dan Quinn has seen what his work ethic is. The reasons that he was being suspended, mostly for weed though, but for the reasons that he was being suspended and how undisciplined he was there, maybe he's no longer that guy anymore. Maybe Dan Quinn saw something in those Cowboys practices to where he couldn't necessarily convince Mike McCarthy to bring him on and keep him as a receiver, but maybe now that he's a head coach, even though he does have to answer to Adam Peters, maybe it was enough to convince Adam Peters to give him a shot. Now, of course, he has a very big time uphill battle to make this 53-man roster, a very big battle, especially again with this troubled past, and he is 32 years old at the same time, but we'll see how that goes. But before we move on, I feel like I gave y'all like a quick rundown of his career path, but let's not forget how far he was at one point in time, man, especially for the Steelers, because on November 2nd, Martavis Bryant had his first career start against the Baltimore Ravens and ended the game with 3 receptions, 44 yards, and 2 touchdown receptions in his first career start. His 5 touchdowns receptions set an NFL record for a player in the first 3 games of a career. And during a Week 10 contest against the New York Jets, Martavis had 4 receptions for a season-high 143 yards and an 80-yard touchdown catch included in that. This is all his rookie season. And that marked his 6th touchdown in just 4 games and again set an NFL record, which was later tied by Calvin Ridley, but his name is still etched in the history books with that one. Then Bryant finished his rookie season with 26 receptions for 549 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns in just 10 games with only 3 starts. And Bryant's 21.1 yards per reception ranked first among NFL wide receivers out of the entire NFL in that season of 2014, man. I mean, the flashes are very bright, pretty inconsistent, sort of like a head case. You got to worry about if he's even going to be available, but when he's on, he's on. Him and Antonio Brown formed arguably one of the best wide receiver duos. I mean, you can't necessarily say NFL history because it didn't last long enough, but potential was there, man. If both of those guys could have been normal and just decent mentally, they would have went down in the history books, man. And also continuing on, going into the 2015 season, on August 27th, Martavis Bryant was suspended for the first 4 games due to violating the league's substance abuse policy. During his suspension, he spent time at a rehabilitation center in Houston, Texas, and worked with ex-NBA coach John Lucas. Although he was available to return for Week 5, he missed the game due to a knee injury, so he made his season debut on October 18th. And in a 25-13 victory over the Arizona Cardinals, he caught 6 passes for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns, including an 88-yard touchdown. I mean, he came in and picked right back up like he never left. I mean, it's ridiculous. His first start of the season came October 25th, though, against the Kansas City Chiefs, where he caught 3 receptions, 45 yards, and had a touchdown as well. And then during a Week 10 matchup against the Cleveland Browns, he had a season-high 178 receiving yards on 6 catches, while also scoring a 64-yard touchdown. I mean, this guy is so productive when he's available, when he's there. Then going into 2016, the NFL announced that it suspended Bryant for the entire 2016 season for again violating the league's substance abuse policy. Then he came back 2017. On April 25th, he was conditionally reinstated by the NFL. He entered the regular season as the starting wide receiver alongside Antonio Brown. In the Steelers' season-opening victory over the Browns, Bryant caught 2 passes for 14 yards. The following week, he caught 3 passes for 91 receiving yards in his first touchdown of the season on a 27-yard pass from Ben Roethlisberger as the Steelers defeated Minnesota 26-9. However, following the Week 7 game against the Bengals, Bryant vented frustration about his lack of role in the offense on social media. Then he skipped mandatory team meetings the following Monday, and then Bryant publicly told ESPN he would like to be traded. However, Coach Mike Tomlin basically wasn't going for that and said that the team had no plans of trading him. And then on October 25th, 2017, prior to that week's game against the Detroit Lions, the Steelers demoted Bryant to the scout team and replaced him with Juju Smith-Schuster after deactivating him from the game. So again, he was a lot of trouble. Even when he wasn't suspended, he was out complaining out loud that he wanted to get more playing time and get the ball thrown towards him more. And maybe he had a point, but this is just a guy with off the field concerns, is the best way to word it. But at the same time, man, I mean, the NFL doesn't even test for that anymore. So, I mean, how much do we really even need to exactly worry about that? But most importantly for our situation, we right now are in need of a wide receiver, man. We do actually need receiver help, especially like a veteran receiver specifically, because right now Luke McCaffrey, even though he's only played the receiver position for 2 years of his entire life, these past 2 years, he may already be our wide receiver 3 as a rookie, at worst wide receiver 4. And you can honestly project him to become our wide receiver 3 by week 1. And I'm very high on Luke McCaffrey, but a receiver that's only been playing the position for 2 years is already a wide receiver 3, at least projected to be that by the time the regular season gets here. Lets you know that we don't have a lot of receiver dependability here. Like, I like Jamison Crowder's veteran nuance in the slot and his return ability. I like Olamide Zaccheaus' ability to block on the perimeter. I feel like that's pretty useful. And De'Ami Brown has shown some deep ball potential. And then, of course, my Georgia dog, Marcus Rosemi-Jacksaint, out there making crazy catches. But that's not necessarily the most trustworthy receiving group at all. It's pretty top heavy. And then on top of that, even just ignoring how talented we are, or the veteran experience and nuance in the receiver group top to bottom, because we have a lot of young guys in there, especially in that second half. But Luke McCaffrey is 6'2" right now, as our tallest receiver, as a third-round rookie. And he's not even like that big. There's receivers out here that's like 6'5", 6'6", and things like that. So even though we do have a nice group of pass catching tight ends with some great height on them, and even though our practice squad player Bryson Tremaine is tall as well, I think he's like 6'5", but again, I don't really expect him to actually make the 53-man roster. I think he's more so just a practice squad guy that we'll just keep around. So right now, we don't specifically exactly have a wide receiver that's projected to make the 53-man roster that's at least 6'3", and Martavis Bryant is 6'4", and as I've already given you the stats, this guy can make plays down the field as well. A lot of his touchdowns have been like 60, 80 yarders and things like that. So this is where you can argue that both need and potentially supply meet in the middle, because he may still be talented, but of course it all depends on whether his head is on straight or not. And also, Dan Quinn is not going to play about those antics. So if he's vouching for him, if he gave the signal to, yeah, like, go ahead and bring him in for a workout, see what happens, then maybe Martavis Bryant showed a little something with those Cowboys where he's on the straight and narrow, he's good to go mentally. And then we still got to see, again, he's 32 years old now. You know, back when he was a rookie in 2014, everything was all good. 2015 flashes, 2016 flashes, but now we're up to 2024. He may not be the same athlete that he used to be. So we'll see. And it's even, again, it's wilder even now, because now that the NFL doesn't really care about people smoking weed anymore, consuming weed or whatever, it's really like he picked the wrong year to get drafted. If he were a rookie coming out of college right now, he would have been just fine and completely gotten away with everything. But then again, you also had the situations where apparently he abused some other substance other than weed at one point, something like game enhancing apparently, but I never received confirmation on that. And then of course you also had the situation where he was complaining out loud and basically being like a locker room cancer to the Steelers. If all of that is in his past, maybe we end up with a free agency still here. We'll see. I'm not banking on it, but I'm just giving you the reasons as to why it could work out. Do I believe it will work out? Would I put any money on the fact that Martavis Bryant is actually going to not only sign with us, but actually last long enough through the offseason to actually make the 53-man roster? I'm not putting a single dollar on that, but I'm giving you the reasons as to why there's logic and reasoning behind bringing them in for a workout. Because best case scenario, now we have our big receiver that we've been looking for a while now. And now moving on to the schedule leaks for the Washington Commanders. Just to let you know, again, the NFL schedule will be released tonight on NFL Network and ESPN2 at 8 p.m. today, as in Wednesday, May 15th. So when that happens, once we get the official schedule, like the full long one, I'll do a whole video breakdown on that, and it's probably going to last like 20-30 minutes. We'll see. But so far, the schedule leaks that we have as of right now, and again, I want to keep emphasizing that these are not the most trustworthy leaks right now. But week 1, we have Giants at Commanders, 1 p.m. on Fox. So it sounds like we're going to be opening the season against, I guess, Daniel Jones. That's going to be cool. That potentially, again, if this is true, Jayden Daniels will be able to go against his boy Malik Neighbors to start off the season. And I don't think the Giants are that great, so I guess that's a decent opponent to go against week 1 to hopefully get some things started. And most importantly, I wanted week 1. The only real preference I had for this schedule as far as like, please show us some favor as far as having a bye week as close to the middle of the season as possible. And then also, I would prefer if it was Caleb Williams at the Commanders. I feel like that's like best case scenario for a week 1 situation. I know a lot of people said they prefer New Orleans week 1 because that's how RG3 started his rookie season. And of course, those parallels there. But I felt like as long as it's a home game, as long as we have a home game to open week 1 with all of the excitement, new owner, because remember Josh Harris, by week 1, he would have been an owner for at least a year. But at this point right now, I don't think he still had bought the team yet. Maybe he did. I think it was sometime in like June or July. And then even outside of that, new GM, assistant GM, top to bottom. Eugene Shen, you bring him in. Tim McGrath, all of these guys. We have the entirely new coaching staff, except for I think like quarterbacks coach and Ryan Kerrigan, who even switched positions, and then wide receivers. I think everybody else is new. And then we have the most roster turnover, at least Commanders wise, since 1945 or 65, something like that. And we also have the most roster turnover out of any NFL team going from 2023 to 2024. So this is like the most different team in the NFL right now, going from the last season through free agency, through the draft, all of the moves we made. And I just feel like starting off week 1 at home, especially with a potential win, can really get the ball rolling for excitement among this fan base. So ideally, I just hope that it's a decent opponent that may not be too challenging, and I'm hoping that it's one of our home games this week 1, so we can go right out the gate. Jayden Daniels debut, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, everybody debut, Cliff Kingsbury, just a big debut of everything and all of the changes that we have. Now, also another leak is that we have Bears at Washington week 3, Thursday night football. We have Jayden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. That sounds pretty fun. And of course, that will be in Maryland as well. And I'm not surprised that if that sounds quite possible that it could be Jayden Daniels versus Caleb Williams on a Thursday night game. And we just played the Chicago Bears last year on Thursday night. Why not do it again with more of a reason to do it now? With the number 1 and number 2 overall picks facing off, why not? Now, of course, y'all already know that these opponents and where we play them has already been decided like a couple of years ago. You can already look at who we're going to play in 2025, and I believe even 2026 right now. So we already know that we were going to play the Bears in Landover at some point. Right now, we're waiting for the leaks to come out, and then we'll get the official schedule released for the entire NFL 8 p.m. so we know when these games are happening and when everybody's bye weeks are. But we already know that it will be Caleb Williams having to go against Jayden Daniels in Landover, in his hometown of the DMV. He's from DC. He went to Gonzaga and everything like that. So we already know that. It's just about when will it happen. I think Thursday night would be a pretty fun time to do that. Another leak that we have seen so far, but we still don't exactly know if this is real. We have Jayden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. Week 7, Commanders at the Ravens, 1 p.m. on Fox. And then you also have another leak where, well, he's thinking that the Commanders will play at Philadelphia week 11. But the same source, NFL Schedule Leaks 2024 at Schedule Leaks 24, back all the way on May 7th, said that we would have a bye week on week 11. Then he changed it May 8th, just 7 days ago, that we will actually play the Eagles on week 11 instead of a bye week. So even he's confused all over the place. I don't know. Then week 12, Thanksgiving, Commanders at Dallas. I'm not surprised there. That makes a lot of sense. That makes too much sense. That's like the leak that I probably trust the most, because that always happens. And then apparently he said that the finalized Thanksgiving schedule is 12:30 p.m. Jaguars at Lions. I mean, of course it was going to be the Lions just based on whoever they play. Then 4:30 p.m. Commanders at Dallas. That makes a lot of sense. And then 8:20 p.m. Titans at Chargers is a little confusing because they typically, I thought, try to put the better matchup then, but I'm not exactly seeing why the Titans should be good enough to deserve that spot. But it is what it is. Sounds realistic enough. And then I don't know why this guy's main leaks are attached to the Giants, but he also apparently has our Week 17 leak, Commanders at Giants at 1 p.m. on Fox as well. And boy, Jayden Daniels, I hope you're ready for the cold. I mean, being from the IE in California, playing in Arizona, playing in LSU, I hope you're ready for that New York cold. Week 17, hoo-wee, man. Somebody please give him some advice on how to deal with that one. I know, of course, when you're moving and your blood is pumping, you're not as cold, but that's still different than never really having ever. Has he ever experienced a New York winter in his life? That hits a little different, man. It's a little cold up there. Well, technically a New Jersey winter, but y'all get the point. And then also, shouts out to J Daniels MVP, that boy Brandon over there that's always doing a great job of providing a lot of Commanders information on Twitter. He put up this leaked entire schedule right here, and I don't exactly know where he got this source from. I don't know if this is true or not. Of course, this doesn't even align with the leaks that I just gave you from NFL schedule leaks 2024. Like, I mean, already just looking at it off straight snapshot, just quick glance, I'm already seeing week 1 is different. Cincinnati at Cincinnati instead of the Giants coming to play us in Landover. I'm already seeing week 11 instead of at Philadelphia. I'm seeing Dallas coming to play us in Landover. I'm seeing the Baltimore Ravens game, I believe, is a different date because the schedule leaker said week 7. I'm seeing it on this schedule leak right here is week 12. I mean, this is all over the place. I have no idea what to think. The New York Giants game instead of week 17 is now week 18. I honestly have no idea what to believe at this point. The only thing that's the same is the Chicago game week 3 in Landover. So maybe that is a real game right there. Maybe that is like the real one. And then now, before we get up out of here, if you look on the screen right now as well, again, since we already know who we play and where we play them, we already know everybody's strength of schedule right now, and we're somewhere in the middle. We have like an average strength of schedule of, we have like a 3-way tie with a .502 with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings. And then if you're trying to reference like the rest of the NFC East, of course their schedule should be harder than ours because we receive a 4th place schedule because we were 4th place in the division last year compared to like the Giants who have a 3rd place schedule, and then the Cowboys who have a 2nd, I believe, or the Cowboys ended up winning it, so they should have the 1st place and the Eagles should have the 2nd place from what I remember. And when you're looking on the screen, I mean, I'm struggling to find the Giants right now. I see us, then I see the Cowboys above us like 4 spots. Oh, the New York Giants are way up there. Okay. Poor Giants, man. And then the Eagles are somewhere on here. Don't tell me the Eagles have an easier schedule than us. I don't know how that happened, but that's probably because we generally play like the same teams overall, especially because like we play certain divisions. Like we got to play the AFC North this upcoming season, and whew, that's a tough one right there. We got to play the NFC South, which shouldn't be too bad. So we play similar opponents. It's just really a difference as far as the NFC East division goes from us compared to the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles, where we play these guys. And then also, you know, that extra game. You know, since now we're on to a 17-game season within 18 weeks, we have that extra game. I'm assuming that our schedule is more difficult than the Eagles because I guess we play a tougher opponent with that game. I don't exactly know why the Eagles' schedule is easier than ours and how that ended up happening, but I'm not too worried about it because at the end of the day, we need to play who's in front of us. It doesn't matter how tough or easy our schedule is. You got to go out there and win games regardless. But I did want to show y'all that list right there provided by the NFL Network themselves. And, you know, just to give you an idea of how tough our schedule is, somewhere in the middle, so we don't really benefit from it. We're also not at a very big disadvantage. I'm mad because y'all know I'm the biggest Falcons hater doing it, and I hate to see that the Falcons have the easiest schedule in the NFL. I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that Chicago Bears have the 3rd easiest schedule. So when people are comparing Caleb Williams to Jayden Daniels, and people more than likely will not bring up how potentially, I mean, of course, this is all potentially though, because things can change. These are based off of last year's records. A lot of teams can make big improvements. Some teams can just have meteor-like falls. So of course, this means absolutely nothing, but you know, I'm just thinking out loud basically. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content, man. I really appreciate y'all for staying patient with me. I'm trying to get back to the point where I'm doing like 2-3 videos a day. Today's probably going to be a 3-video day because we're supposed to have practice. You know, I got to break that down at some point later on today, like afternoon, evening, and then when the schedule comes out at 8 p.m. I'm gonna have to do something about that at night. So make sure you stay tuned, and I'm trying to work on some of these film sessions for the rookie class. But of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about the Martavis Bryant situation. Do you want to bring him on? Why or why not? Also, let me know how you feel about these schedule leaks. Which one do you believe, or what are your preferences for what the schedule commanders for the commanders can end up being? So let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please do not leave this video without leaving a like, and stay tuned because again, I'm coming out with multiple videos today. So make sure you keep pulling back up to the channel to see what's going on. And I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.